Right. So how excited are you now? That's it has dropped and there've been reactions. And tell me,
I
yeah,
I am ecstatic. I am ecstatic. This has been such a roller coaster, and I was literally shot out of a cannon in September, and it has been an amazing, amazing ride.
yeah.
Yeah.
Does it feel real? Do you pinch yourself and say, is it for real?
No,
All
I
that,
do every morning. Just to make sure I'm not dreaming. But it's definitely surreal. It's definitely surreal.
right.
Yeah.
And that video call that Will Smith called you and said congratulations. Of course, everybody's asked you that question,
Yeah.
but again, reliving that, and then you were in a closet at a friend's house
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
tell me about it.
Yeah, so I was actually moving at the time. A lot of people don't know I was moving at the time.
Okay.
And I was auditioning and getting called back. And so I was bouncing from friend to friend's house. And I remember I had the final producer call, and I was at one friend's house, but her house wasn't available for the call that I had that I
Yeah.
happened to be up in the closet, right? So I called my friend and I was like, I have this like creative session basically. I don't know what it's about, but can I use like a space in your house? And he was like, yeah, I mean, I have this space in my closet that's like, pretty great lighting. And I was like, okay, cool. So I was just in my friend's closet, and I got on the call thinking that it was a creative session, and Will Smith surprised me and told me I got the part. But like,
Oh,
what better space to be in?
yes,
Yeah.
amazing, isn't it? Okay.
Yeah.
Also, the fact that I'm sure there's a lot of pressure when it comes to doing a role which has already been so iconic and all of that. Did you approach the role with the pressure, or you were just yourself? What was your process?
A little bit of both for sure. Definitely in different moments. When I first got, there, first shooting the first couple of scenes, there was definitely a lot of pressure. I was like, oh my God, why me? Why did they choose me? And I had a really big talk with Morgan Cooper and Will Smith, and they just reminded me that they chose me for me. And
Yeah.
for who I was and for my talents. And so I had to lean into, me. And so I had to bring myself to the situation and to the character. And, I've just been rolling with, that sort of energy since.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
does Jabari mean? And tell me a bit about your childhood.
Jabari means brave, and
Okay.
Jabari means leader.
Okay.
And growing up, I actually hated the name Jabari. And
Okay.
in high school I was like, I'm just gonna go with it, and I'm just gonna be proud of where I come from and in my name. And so Jabari is my name, and so it's been a specific journey that I've had with my name for sure.
Okay. So tell me more about it. Were you and how did you accept it finally? Was it a process?
I think just through time, and like
Yeah.
it's a unique name. It's a unique name, and
Yeah.
so I'm like, there's only like I've only known of a few like Jabaris that I actually know of, and so I'm like,
Oh, Middle Eastern and quite Asian as well, a
hmm?
similar name.
Say that one more
Jabar is,
time.
yeah, a Middle Eastern name. It sounds like a Middle Eastern name or
Yeah,
probably an Asian name. So it has
yeah,
that sound, which
yeah.
is
I think it's actually I'm not sure where it derives from, but I got to look that up for sure. But I was just like, it's a unique name, and I like it. So
yeah.
yeah.
So about childhood. So were you always inclined towards the performing arts right from childhood? Because you're multi.
Um, I knew I always wanted to tell stories. Like I'm a big storyteller, and whether that be with music or with fashion or with drawing, visual arts, or with acting. Acting was like my youngest child. I always described it as like music was my firstborn, and
Okay.
like you love your firstborn, you know what I mean, and you spent the
Yeah.
most time with them. But you learn yourself a little more as a parent through your middle child, which was like fashion for me, and
Okay.
acting is definitely my youngest, and it gets the most attention now. you know
Okay. How inspired are you of Will Smith and his journey? Because that is one inspirational figure that we all look up to.
right? It's so inspiring, honestly, and the fact that he's literally a neighborhood over from where I grew up,
Uh-huh.
and you know what I mean. And my whole life, people have told me that I kind of resemble him or energy or whatever. But I to see what the Fresh Prince was for him and how it catapulted his career. It's so inspiring to see what he has done with his career and how he pays it forward now to younger artists. And he just it's so inspiring, and I hope to do the same thing in my career.
And when did you watch the series for the first time, the original one?
Growing up, I mean, I was probably maybe like one or two. And my
So, but
family had
then did
this.
you watch it later? I mean, did you watch it before you started this one? Did you watch it, or you didn't want to watch it? What was your reference?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I've been watching it. It was I think they have all of the seasons on some streaming platform, but like, it was I had been watching it. I actually binge watched the whole thing.
Okay.
And it was just reruns, and so like I was super familiar with the show, so I didn't really have to like study it.
Right.
Yeah.
How did you then want to add Jabari into that role? Because then you'd already seen it, but you clouded by the fact that, okay, how did you make it?
Right. How did I make it my own? I definitely was clouded. It was like there were moments in the script where I was like, how would Will do this? You know what I mean? But honestly, like within the script, there weren't too many moments where I felt like I needed to give the performance that Will Smith did in the sitcom version,
Right.
and so they didn't really leave too much room for that. And
Mm-hmm.
so it definitely left space for my own interpretation. And, we're
Mm-hmm.
definitely walking, we're definitely filling some big shoes, but we're also like creating our own as well. So
Also, the era has changed from when it was and what is today. So what has been, it's a 2022 version of the series. So and there's more technology. There's been a huge change from then to now.
yeah.
How did you incorporate that, and how different is this series from that one?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to technology, we see that through the character of Hillary with social media, that
Yeah.
that wasn't, around in the 90s. And so
Yeah.
like, how does that inform how these characters feel about themselves and feel
Right.
about the people around them? And I think that's definitely a crucial part of our everyday lives today, obviously, but also like the characters in that story and now and their public perception of who the Banks family is. Yeah.
And the series also explores mental health. So tell me
Yeah.
more about
Yeah, that's a great topic that we get to touch on, and we see that through the character of Carlton, mostly, and also the character of Will as well. But it's an important topic to touch on, not only in the Black community, but just in life in general. And so I think that's
Yeah.
super important and super poignant of the way that we're hitting them and what that means for a 16-year-old kid growing up.
Right. Also, there's a scene that I've watched from clips that I've seen, is the original one, which has him confronting his biological father and his uncle, that famous scene.
Yeah, that iconic scene, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Tell me about it. How was it when you performed it? And tell me the experience.
Wait, when I performed it,
Yes.
that
That,
scene,
yeah.
it wasn't specifically that
Okay.
we
Okay.
got themes of that, but you know what I mean, that's an iconic scene. When I first saw that was actually my favorite scene in the Fresh Prince. When I first saw that's so raw, and like I felt like that was one of the first times that we really got to see Will Smith, because it was like that was an improvised scene. And
Yeah.
and so that scene is, we talk about that scene forever. I think that is an amazing scene in television history.
Yeah. And the Carlton hook step, which I think everybody's, I mean, it's the most famous one around people. I mean, that's one of those iconic things again.
Yeah.
I mean, of all that I've read, has it changed as well, or anything added to that as well, or that's the same?
With the dance?
Yes.
Yeah, there's definitely some more, there's some different dances, you know what I mean? There's it's like, what does that look like in 2022? But I throughout the series, you'll see little sprinkles of that in there for sure. That is an iconic part of the Fresh Prince. So there's no way we could have leave that out.
Okay. Apparently, Jaden's. Also, tell me about Jaden Smith's reaction to your role.
Jaden Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Christmas break, December.
Okay.
We had a little break off.
Yeah.
And I'm asleep, and I wake up randomly, and I have like 2-3 texts from Dwayne Martin, who's also on the show. And he's like, yo, where you at? Call me. Me and Will want to talk. And I got crust in my eyes. I'm like, it's 1 a.m. I'm like, what's going on? I throw a hoodie on. I'm trying to find some good lighting. I run into the bathroom and I call Dwayne Martin, and Jaden Smith jumps from the phone, like on FaceTime. He's like, yo, we just watched the pilot episode. It was crazy. It was, you embodied my father perfectly. And like hearing those words from him, it was like, it was the stamp. You know what I mean? We've gotten a lot of stamps of approval, but that was a huge one for me. And so he's a big fan of the show, and he's been following it since.
What about your own family? How did they react to whatever they watched?
Yeah, my mom just cries every episode. You know, she was like, this past episode 8, she was like, I wish I had the same relationship that you do with your mom on TV. And I was like, Mom, I love you, you know what I mean? But you wasn't, you know what I mean? You know, but yeah.
Okay. Okay. 1 minute. Okay. What did your character that you played, what was the impression it has left on you as a person and an artist?
That's a really, really good question. I think that as playing Will, it has left me with the impression, or, you know, and this has always been, I guess, a thing for Jabari, but it's instilled and solidified in me that it just always keep growing and keep learning and be curious and be present and be attentive and you know, just be there for show up for people and show up for your family, and that's like the most important thing. And so I've definitely been learning that lesson throughout this process, because that's something that I wasn't keen to before this show, you know. And so there's a lot of reminders, not only in the show but through the cast and their actions that have inspired me to do some of the things that I've been doing recently. So
okay, what does Ollie's character teach you? Because you're rivals as well, and then you're friends, and there's a cousin element there. So what does that character teach you? Because you do get towards the end, there is a certain friendship, but there is also this.
Yeah. I think it's like, we always like, I think it's great to open up the conversation. It's really about perspective. You know what I mean? I was very much in the Will mindset that, like, if you don't do this, or if you don't talk, or if you don't walk this way, or if you don't do this, then you're not Black. You know what I mean? And so I think as the show and going through this show, I think, and like learning more about the character, Carlton is just giving me empathy and opening up my horizon and my perspective about the Black experience, for sure. I was definitely ignorant going into it. For sure. Yeah. I could say that.
What about your own music? Tell us about your music career.
Yeah. I have music coming out this year, and it's going to be super exciting. And I'm super excited for you to listen to it and tell your whole family about it and jam out to it in Dubai. You know what I mean? And you know what I mean? So, you know, I say that, you know, my music is like a marrying of R&B and hip hop in a new way that we haven't seen it before. So that's what I'm still finding my voice in it, but I'm super excited for everyone to hear it.
Have you done anything for the series? Do you have any small music that you've created or sung in the series? Because you're
I play piano a lot throughout the show, and so you know, there are some songs that I wrote in school that have made their way into the show.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Anything you can rap for us or hum for us for the Dubai audiences?
Anything that we could rap, that I could rap?
Yeah.
Now this is a story all about how my life got flipped, turned upside down, and I'd like to take a minute, just sit right there. I mean, we already know that. Yeah, you know the story.
Oh, lovely. Thank you very much.
I pulled up to the house about 7 or 8. It's Big Willie. And then on my name when I came in the state. Oh, private jet to LA. Oh, hold on. Uncle Phil, you my better side. We ain't see eye to eye. Now we ride or die. La da 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 da. Hold on. I was in Philly. I'm really 10 toes in my city. I'm thinking about stacking a milli. Now I'm in my back in a Bentley. Like, how the fuck I'm in my back of it? Hold on. Yeah, you know. You can cut that out. I'm sorry. I'll be, you know. I get it.
Lovely. No. I quite like it. It's quite interesting and quite. Thank you very much for speaking to me. It was lovely speaking to you. And hope to see you in Dubai sometime soon.
Oh, I'm there. Yeah. You know what I mean? So when I'm there, I'll hit you up. I'll be like, yo, you know what I mean? Manju, show me around.
Sure.
All right.
Thank you.